Hey, hello. All right, I am back. So today I thought we could make some greeting cards. And so this will be a demonstration on that. And I'm going to be using some turpernoid and some brushes. All right, so I just like to get started. I don't like big intros. But to let you know how my setup is going, I have a piece of pastel mat taped up to my board, my drawing board. And then I have a 3x5 greeting card. And I think this is a product from Strathmore. And you can find this easily at Michael's or even on Amazon. A lot of craft stores will have this, maybe even Target. But it's a speckled paper surface, which isn't my favorite to work with, which is why I'm going to be using the turpernoid, which I have right here in this little jar. A little bit of terp, and that's turpernoid, that's odorless. And if you're not familiar with the product, it looks like that. And you can use these with oil pastels, and it is odorless, and a little goes a long way. You don't need a lot. So that's what I use when I want to use a brush, a little bit of terp with oil pastel. And I'll show you the greeting cards. They look like this. Okay, and it's got a crease in the middle here. And both sides seem to be the same. There doesn't seem to be a smooth side. So, but I usually will just fold it here right at the crease. Like this. Makes it a 3x5 card now. All right, it's got this kind of broken edge here. Probably see that. Okay, and then the other side has a smooth edge. So to me, that means this is the front of the card. And then what I've done is I've cotton head and slipped it back behind my paper like this. And then tape the corners down. So that gives me a nice clean surface to work with. I won't get oil pastel on any of this bottom piece or on the underside of the front here. So that's why I tape it like that. Okay, and again, this is a Strathmore product. I don't have the original packaging, so I can't tell you, what exactly it is. But it's a Strathmore product, 3x5 greeting card. And I have a whole bunch here, a whole stack of them. All right, set that aside. Okay, so I thought I would do some greeting cards on coastal scenes, particularly the Oregon coast. So I found some reference pictures. Here's one of them. We'll do this one here on this card. Yeah, pretty cool picture. I like the clouds. I like the light. I like coming through the clouds there. And then this horizon here is nice, a golden yellow color. And a silhouette of I think this is Yaquina Bay in Newport. I can double check on that. And I went ahead and picked out some colors that I think I'm going to be using here. So some Prussian blues, like a medium gray, kind of a purple. And then for the sky, I'm going with that crema, the neopastel cream, kind of a peach, and then an ochre. And I believe these are all neopastels. This one's a mungyo, by the way. A couple of these are mungyos. And then for the water, the waves, the crashing part of the waves, the white water, I was going to go with this kind of lavender and light blue. As you see, nothing's really white in this reference photo, so I don't have any white here. And I'll never start off with white. So I think I'm going to start off with this and just see how it goes. And like I said, I have a little terp here in a jar. And the brushes I'm using are these kind of stiff bristle hog brushes. I think work best for oil pastel. I like stiffness because the brush will hold up and it'll be able to cut into it and be able to move the pastel and pigment around. So I'm going to be using these two. We'll probably start off with a smaller one just to see how that works. But before that, let's go ahead and put some oil pastel down. So I'm going to start off with the sky. Let's do a gray and a blue. Looking at the sky, I see a lot of gray and I see a lot of blue. And a little bit of purple, seems like. So we'll just start off with some gray. And you can see the speckled of the paper, what that looks like. So that you can tell it's tough to work with when you have to blend that out. That's why I'll use terp on this to make that process easier. But I'm just going to scrub some gray in there. Kind of looking at my reference, seeing where that cloud layer is. And it does go back down maybe to like most of the top half of that space right there. Okay, and let's put a little blue into it. So this is a Prussian blue. Looks like that. Here's the gray I just used. Okay. Let's just scrub some blue in there. All right, and then while we're at it, why don't we just add a little bit of that purple? There's that little purple right there. Kind of a dark purple, I guess. You can see the colors. So let's put a little purple in there, a couple spots. Let's just see what that looks like. All right. Now let's get down to the horizon here, where you can see the sky, the background sky, and that's going to go with a crema. And I was thinking a crema and an ochre for that. Let's just see what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the crema. It's really creamy like butter. This is a neopastel, very soft. Okay, there's the crema, kind of a light yellow. And then I'm going to scrub in a little bit of the ochre into it, just to give it a little bit of warmer feel. All right, maybe a little bit more cream. All right. Okay, and then we have the land, this little jetty or something here. So let's go back to maybe this Prussian blue. And it's a different Prussian blue than the one I started with. Prussian blue, a little bit different variety. So this one's a little bit darker. Maybe has a little bit more of a darker gray into it, or the other one has a little bit more blue. So I'm going to go with a little bit darker tone on it. And I'm just going to very vague kind of rough in shapes here. Okay, I'm just trying to mimic the shape of the little building and the lighthouse. All right, don't need to be exact, but just kind of, okay. And it kind of just stops right there. All right, and we'll kind of fill that in. All right, and then there's like another rock, and then another kind of rock, part of the coastal. It's broken off. All right. All right, I can see I can start rubbing that with my finger, but I think it's easier to do with the turp. Now let's get some watercolor down in there. So I'm going to go with, now that water, if you look at it, it's really dark, except for the splashing white water part of it, but the actual color of the water, very dark. But I think I'm going to go gray and a blue again, maybe mostly gray to help separate it from this landmass here. So this will be eventually water. Okay, now this is, of course, first layer, even on a small format like this, I'm still thinking in layers. So I'm just getting in that base, covering the white of the paper. Okay, this is going to be the ocean water, the crashing waves. We got the sky, nice thick cloud cover up here. And then we'll create the sun or the light break coming through here in a second. I think I'm going to increase the crema kind of down in between these spaces here. I wonder if this is going to go green on me. I end up blending it. We'll find out. Okay. All right, so let's start blending this up. Now I could use my hands. I could use a stump. Most not familiar with a stump is, or these things. Okay, but we're going to use turp. So I'm going to take my brush. And go ahead and dip it into my turp. Kind of wipe the excess away, and then we just start brushing. All right, and you see how easily that cuts right into the oil pastel. It's very easy. much easier to cover the paper like this than trying to rub it out with hand. And a little bit goes a long ways. That's my dog. You hear that big thumping. That's him just laying down. He's a big boy. He's 150 pounds. 150 pounds. 1 year old. All right, let's keep going. So somewhere around here is where my sun's going to come out. So I'm kind of just very loosely just kind of leaving that alone. Kind of figuring it out visually where I want that to be. All right, make sure I cover my edges. Definitely see the different shades of purple and gray that are going on in there. All right, you can see it's lighter application as I get towards the horizon, very heavy up here, very light, more of a dry brush technique here. I'm really trying to fade that sky back. Okay, we'll go ahead and just fill that in. I kind of know where it's going to be. Okay, now let's go some more terp. All right, let's work on blending out the landscape part. Kind of follow the shape of things. Alright. There's going to be a tree here. Maybe I'll just kind of brush that in a little bit. And then keep going. Alright, so now I gotta kind of see if I can get a shape here of a lighthouse. I'm just going really slow and kind of just smearing it around. There we go. Okay. We're not looking for exact, but roughly we kind of know what that's going to be. And then these large rocks. And there's another one here. Okay, and then the water. We'll just go ahead and just continue with the same brush. Everything's done with the same brush. Fade that out in the back. There's supposed to be some ocean back there. Just kind of fade that. Glad I did the gray here to separate these two masses here. Okay. Nice, starting to shape up just a nice silhouette of a lighthouse. All right, just kind of spread that back and forth. All right, so I'm running out of terp and starting to get really dry. I might just add a little bit more. See, I'm trying to wipe off the excess stuff because really you do not need a lot to move this oil pastel around. All right. There we go. All right, so there we have it. First layer. Okay, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a good 10 minutes here. And then we'll start with more layers and kind of finish it out. So I'll be back in 10. All right, I am back. It's been about 10 minutes, and it is dry. Now when you add terp, it does feel a little chalky, which is good. I want that. I don't want it to be feeling wet or sticky, but definitely drier. I think the turpernoid helps kind of dry out the pastel a little bit. All right, so you see you got a little bit pigment coming up. That's fine. The point is that the paper is dry. All right, so now I can continue on. So let's go ahead and continue. Grab some of these same colors here. Actually, I think I'm going to start with the sky. Look at our reference picture. Okay, so I want to use this crema and just kind of rub in some more of that in here. Now that I cover the paper, I can actually really kind of define spaces and edges here, which is using a pastel stick. And I'm going to kind of go over the sky a little bit and kind of lighten it up. All right. Kind of clean up the edge of this rock here. All right. All right, let's go on this side. Same process. Kind of lighten up some of these values. See, as a cloud gets closer and closer down, it does fade out because this part of the cloud is farther away than up here. Okay, so it's going to be a lighter value of gray. So I'm just kind of taking this crema, and I'm just going over it. All right. Make sure it's straight. All right, keep going across. Again, up into the cloud layer. Okay. Now there's really no blending here. I'm not going to really use a stump on this. Don't really need to because I use that terp to kind of cover everything first. So yeah, I think I want to make that a little smaller. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Put that down. Now let's go back into the clouds. This is a gray. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the darker spots, kind of tone it down a little with the gray. This is where my light's going to be coming through, so I'm going to kind of keep that area lighter. Might even take a lighter gray and try to start that light. It's kind of a light, looks like a light blue, but it's actually a gray. It leans blue, leans cool. Kind of the way the light filters through, it creates this area that is just lighter in value. And I could take a finger and just kind of smear that around. Okay, same light gray. I'm going to create variations in the clouds, so it's not just one dark mass here. It's you got some dark parts, you got some light parts. Oops. Put that back there. Make sure everything stays on the taped up there. Now just kind of lighten up little areas here and there. This is where the light is going to originate, right up in here, as there's a break in the clouds. And the light kind of filters like this. Okay. All right, put those down there. I am going to grab a stump just because I want a pointy edge right now that my finger can't to give me, just to kind of help this area here. I see a lot of a speckle in the paper that I want to cover over. Sometimes it helps just to use a point to kind of push the pigment into those little speckled spots. Enhance the motion direction of the light as it comes through the clouds. Okay, and then let's get some of that purple. It's kind of the dark part of the cloud. Uses purple for that. Let's see, right there. Okay, just certain spots, and then we'll take again a pointed edge and kind of smear that in there. Even my finger, just trying to spread that color across. Oops, paper kind of wants to come undone when I do that. So it looks really, really purple, really strong. So I'm gonna have to come back and tone that down with some more gray. But let's go ahead and just rub this in. Okay. This is why I like smoother paper, because we don't have to blend or try to layer this in as hard. I find from the way I work, I find the smoother papers are just easier to work with rather than this heavy textured speckled type paper, which I find harder to work with. Okay, now let's get some more gray and kind of tone up that purple there, because that's pretty strong. A little bit of purple's okay, but I don't want it to be too strong. And Mosey just is snoring. Right, and then the stump again to just kind of blend that in, move it around. All right, we got a nice edge there, nice contrast between light and dark there. the fun part of the painting, is when you get that contrast right next to each other. Okay. I think this part needs to be lighter, so I'm going to take this light gray and lighten that up. This is where my sun's coming through. Sunlight, sun rays coming through. And blend that part around it. There we go. There we go. Starting to really shape up there. All right, back to my crema. I think I just like saying crema. All right. More in here. And then I'm going to take white. Okay, now white. Now we're going with white. I'm going to add that to the kind of top edge here of that, where it meets the cloud layer. Just kind of scrub some white in there. Okay. All right. And then let's keep going. Let's get some of that Prussian blue. So you remember I had 2 different versions of Prussian blue, so I'm going with this darker one here. And we're going to go ahead and reinforce the landmass here that's jetting out into the ocean. Right, make it interesting. Right, don't just make it flat across. Maybe there's some variation there. It kind of comes down and then just stops right there. And we have the lighthouse itself. So this is a very small format. It's very hard to get details on something like this, but I do have some edges here on the pastel stick, as you can see. That nice clean edge helps making nice clean edges when you have something like that. And you get that by taking the papers off your oil pastel and then doing a lot of this. And then you create these nice edges. Right? And you can use those edges to then define something that you want to have a nice straight edge, like a building. Right? And try to make that look believable. And then this is where it gets really hard, because now I got this big pointy edge and I'm trying to work on something really small. So I'm going to create an indication of kind of the top of this lighthouse. Okay, there's kind of a ledge up there. Make it fatter at the bottom. All right, and there's a tree. There's a tree like right here. There's a tree. Maybe some more things that are in there. Right. And then you have these rocks, big, huge boulders, basically part of the Oregon coast, you have all this broken coastal line with these huge rocks that sit out in the water. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Now, stump. Let's see if I can get a smaller stump. I'm gonna have to open up the new package here. And grab a stump here where I can get a cleaner edge. So these things are very helpful to have, these stumps, paper tortillons, stumps and tortillons. A must-have tool with oil pastel. All right, and with these I'm able to then define those edges a little bit cleaner because I can kind of push it into the paper. Kind of use it as a pencil almost. My lighthouse looks like it's kind of leaning one way. I think if I just take that edge down, it'll help that look a little better. Maybe it's got a little top that pokes out there. Okay, good enough. Don't make it too crazy. Drive yourself crazy trying to make that perfect. All right, kind of push that in. Okay, and there we go. Nice. All right, very helpful tool. All right, let's get down into the water. So the water is really dark. I think we'll just probably use this same dark here and kind of work in some water, kind of work in some waves here, but I'm going to get in the darkness of the water first. My stump, and we'll smear that. I'm doing a horizontal blend. Oops. All right, no problem. That happens sometimes. You just gotta kind of anchor it down again with the tape. Okay. Try to hold it with my thumb here to prevent that from slipping out. All right, so I think I'm going to add a different color now. I think I'm going to take this kind of a lavender, or kind of a pink actually. I'm going to put that into here a little bit to lighten up some of these silhouettes. Mainly towards the edge where it meets that crema. Just very loose. Just a little bit of that pink in there. All right. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but definitely makes a difference here. Kind of changes the values of it, kind of pushes back these objects. right. And then working in the water now, we're going to go down into the waves. I'm going to grab this lavender blue. This is a mungyo, or it could be a Van Gogh. They're very similar in feel and size, like width, thickness. So it's either one of those two. Okay. Let's put in some breaking wave action back in here. Waves are coming in, they're crashing. It's a low light condition, so that's why I'm using this creme color, or this lavender color. Okay, just in there, and then on the far here. All right, and it's real white watery right up here where it's getting close to the shore. Nice little scene we're creating here. All right, vague. We don't want details. These would be nice to send to somebody, and then I'll show you later how we can protect the work. We're going to use a fixative on it, and it'll be totally protected. Now I'm going to bring a little bit of a lighter gray. So that was that lavender. This is that light gray, kind of bluish light gray, and we'll touch up a little bit of the waves here. Maybe as the closer ones are a little bit more noticeable in the value of the color there. So we'll brighten that up. All right, just indication of crashing water. Okay. And then I like that pink back here so much that I think I'm going to put a little bit more in. All right, and then let's see here, another gray. Come back in here between those rocks, and then I'm going to come back in again with lighter. Try to indicate that the ocean keeps going back there in the scene. Right, and then that crema. More of that. There we go. Some breaking through there. All right, now let's take the same crema cream, go right up in here where the light's really breaking through, and just put it right up in there. Drag those light rays. Important here is to make those as straight. You don't want squiggly lines coming down through your sky, so try to make those straight. And this one is also okay. And try to find a clean finger here, maybe my pinky, and just kind of spread that. Follow the direction of the light that you want it to follow. There we go. All right. I think we are done. Nice. Work on a smaller format and you finish faster. Let's take a look. There's my finished little card. There's my reference. That was fun, guys. All right. So there we have the cards. And I'm going to go and clean my fingers here because I'm going to take the card off. I don't want to get it dirty. All right. So down in here, you can just take your finger and kind of smear that over to cover that edge there. Same with the bottom of the edge. You can kind of just take your thumb here and just kind of smear it. There you see the inside's pretty clean. So is the back. Now we just created a greeting card that we can send to somebody, and we can write something here in here, and then there we go. All right, thanks for watching. I'm going to do a lot more of these videos. This is the first one, but I'm going to create a collection of these coastal scene greeting cards, and then later in the year I can send them out. Thanks for watching, guys.